The summer of 1632 was unlike any other in the war-ravaged lands of the Holy Roman Empire. Smoke lingered in the air, the echoes of cannon fire still ringing across the valleys. In the heart of Germany, two of the greatest military minds of the age prepared for an epic confrontation. On one side stood Gustavus Adolphus, the Swedish king, whose revolutionary tactics had stunned Europe and brought the Catholic forces to their knees. On the other, Albrecht von Wallenstein, the enigmatic commander of the imperial army, recalled from retirement by Emperor Ferdinand II as a last-ditch effort to stop the Swedish juggernaut. This was not just another battle. This was a war of wits, endurance, and strategy. The fate of the 30 Years' War, and perhaps the destiny of Europe, hung in the balance. Gustavus Adolphus had shocked the world with his victories at Breitenfeld and Rain, where he had crushed Count Tilly, the Holy Roman Empire's most experienced general. Tilly's death left Emperor Ferdinand with no choice but to summon Wallenstein, a man known for his unorthodox strategies and unmatched ability to raise armies from nothing. Within weeks, Wallenstein had assembled a force of over 50,000 men, determined to halt the Swedish advance. Gustavus knew that to hold his gains in Germany, he needed a secure base. He chose Nuremberg, a well-fortified Protestant stronghold. Arriving in late June, he set up his army within the city's walls, confident that Wallenstein would challenge him directly. But the imperial commander had other plans. Rather than marching into battle, Wallenstein established a massive encampment just outside Nuremberg, at a place called Alte Veste. His camp was no ordinary position. It was a fortress in itself, surrounded by trenches, palisades, and artillery positions. With over 50,000 men and ample supplies, he was ready to starve the Swedes out. Gustavus, realizing he was facing a battle of attrition, called for reinforcements. His army swelled to nearly 40,000, but food and supplies quickly became scarce. Nuremberg, despite its strong defenses, could not support such a massive force indefinitely. Disease spread, morale plummeted, and the Swedish king knew he had to act before his army crumbled from within. By early September, Gustavus Adolphus could wait no longer. On the 3rd of September, under the cover of early morning mist, he ordered a full-scale assault on Wallenstein's entrenched position at Alte Veste. The terrain was against him. His troops had to climb steep forested hills while facing withering artillery and musket fire. The imperial forces, protected by their earthworks, poured shot and steel into the advancing Swedes. For hours, the Swedish infantry fought desperately to breach the imperial lines. Cannon fire shattered trees, musket balls tore through ranks, and the screams of the wounded filled the air. Gustavus, always leading from the front, rode among his men, rallying them to push forward. But Wallenstein's defenses held firm. The battle raged all day, turning the hills into a graveyard. The Swedish army, exhausted and bloodied, made one final push before nightfall. But the Imperials were unbreakable. As darkness fell, Gustavus was forced to call off the attack. His army, for the first time in the war, had been stopped. Despite repelling the Swedish assault, Wallenstein did not pursue a counterattack. His goal had never been to destroy Gustavus in open battle, but to wear him down. The Swedish army, weakened and demoralized, eventually withdrew. However, Wallenstein's strategy came at a cost. His men too suffered from disease and supply shortages. Unable to capitalize on his defensive victory, he abandoned his camp weeks later, making the battle inconclusive. The war would rage on, leading to the decisive Battle of Lutzen later that year, where Gustavus Adolphus would meet his fate. The siege of Nuremberg was not a decisive clash of arms, but a battle of endurance and strategy. It proved that even the greatest generals could be caught in a deadlock where patience and attrition were deadlier than swords. As the blood-soaked hills of Alte Veste faded into memory, one truth remained: the war was far from over.